The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and are not those of WKYU-TV, its management, or WKU.
Topper Nation, TopperTalk is back in your house.
That's right.
Two-man crew tonight. We're running the two-man
Sorry,
weave. My streak continues, obviously, because I'm the Iron Man of this TV show.
I'm trying to get it back up there.
Working on your streak?
That's right.
Anyway, Sean Williams, Woody White here to bring you 30 minutes of Hilltopper Sports Talk. Shane Bearden is out tonight. He cannot hold down food today, which is always not a good thing.
It's never good.
So we told him to stay home and
I'm not trying to get sick.
Not spread his disease, because we don't want none of that this week.
That's right.
That's right. Need to be primed and ready for the exhibition games that will be starting this week. So, but I guess first things first, we're going to talk about the homecoming loss to Troy, 32-26. Woody, what happened?
I mean, man, we looked all right in the first half. I was excited, felt good about things. Then the second half comes, and we just sort of forget what we're doing, I guess. It was a little frustrating to watch. I know that. It
was kind of like the Louisiana Lafayette game, pretty much all over again. It seemed like just there in the second half, just had their woes defensively. It was, hard. Fundamentally tackling, it just seems to kind of maybe go out the window a little bit as far as their execution and things like that. And really, I mean, honestly, it was just kind of in the second half. It was a back and forth game.
Yeah.
But when you play a back and forth game, what you want to do when you get in the red zone is score touchdowns and not field goals, and that's pretty much was the difference. You kind of look at it. We kicked field goals. They scored touchdowns, and obviously they scored more points too. And really, you look at it too. I mean, here's another difference factor. You got 2 turnovers that Troy converted into 14 points as well. So I know a lot of people are kind of talking about that, and that's kind of the hot topic, of course. It seems like of every WKU loss
of the year, for sure,
is turnovers, and we have the most debilitating turnovers, I think, in college football, because whenever we lose, we always lose, and when we turn the ball over, there's always points converted by the other team. So
yeah, I had the conversation with someone. Whenever you lose games, you kind of play the what if game. Is what if this play went different, or what if we didn't turn it over there, and it just. I mean, just the way this season has gone, it's just kind of one of those what-if seasons so far. I mean, all our losses, if you change a few turnovers here and there, it could have easily been wins.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just the way football goes sometimes.
But, and you look at it, too, I mean, here's another significant thing about the turnovers that turn into points. I mean, you really look at the losses that WKU's had. I mean, statistically, we've dominated the game. You look at the Troy game, we've had 29 first downs compared to 18. We also had 532 total yards. They had 397. We dominated time of possession, 36 minutes. They had 22 minutes, almost 23 minutes time of possession. But just those turnovers kill you. And plus, there in the second half, they kind of made some adjustments as well. Had that 40-yard touchdown pass, Corey Robinson to Chris Williams. But you also talk about the turnovers too. And I guess they started out with Fishback, which was kind of different.
Yeah.
What did you think about the transition there with Fishback?
I didn't necessarily
mind the start.
I didn't mind him getting the start. I mean, you kind of had a feeling they were both going to end up playing some, so I was okay with giving him the start and see how it goes. And I'd honestly, going forward, I think we'll probably still see both of them get a little bit of action. But I mean, it's hard to knock Dowdy for his performance. I mean, stat-wise, like he's been most of the year, he's put up good numbers. It's just like you said, those key plays.
Yeah, and it seemed like that happened to Dowdy again. Here's another question I'm going to throw out there. Fishback started the game, didn't last too long. I mean, led them down to an opening drive where they scored 3 points, got a field goal out of it. That's kind of been Western Kentucky's MO again this year. They kind of, if they win the toss, they're going to receive it. They're going to go down there. They're going to at least put some points on the board and get a good start. They did that again. But do you think Fishback got pulled too early?
I would have liked to see him have a few more.
Yeah.
Drives just to see what he could do. I mean, if you're going to start him, at least give him the chance to prove what he can do a little more.
I kind of agree with you on that because you really look at it. I really think he should have deserved a few more drives. Even though I know Petrino said after the game that they saw a lot of opportunities downfield that they thought Fishback wasn't taking advantage of. But that's what you get him on the sideline for and say, hey, you need to look at this and everything. But hey, you look at Dowdy coming in. I mean, still had another stellar performance. Had over 300 yards passing. But it seems like with Dowdy, everybody points toward the turnovers. He's always the one that kind of has those debilitating turnovers. Not always, but for the most part. And it kind of happened again with the 2 fumbles. Of course, one, I really can't honestly blame Dowdy for the guy that just ran free and on the blitz and nobody blocked him, and he couldn't really do nothing about that aside from maybe hold on to the ball, but I don't really know if he saw him or anything like that. Obviously, somebody missed a block on that one, so.
Surely.
But obviously the other fumbled snap where he wasn't really looking for the ball, kind of hit him in the helmet and things like that. So people are kind of point to that and say, Daddy's kind of a turnover machine. You got to get him out of the game. What's your thoughts about that?
I wish I had a better answer. I mean,
just give me something, man. Just give me something.
You look at his stats, and I mean, he's 29 of 45, 387 yards, and we haven't had a quarterback like that as long as I've been watching WKU football. So I mean, numbers-wise, you like what he's doing, but it's just those little things where he's not winning games for us. I hate to say that. I don't know if we've got a quarterback on our roster that's going to do better.
That's
kind of where we're at right now. It's one of those situations.
And
where
even at the times where there's been opportunities, I mean, it's been against Morgan State, so I mean, you really can't judge.
I mean, maybe like I said, I'd like to see Fish back a little more. I'd still like to see maybe what Porter could do. I don't know if he's going to be able to step in and win games, but I mean, I wish there was a clearer answer, but we're kind of in a tight spot,
I think that's the one thing that kind of maybe frustrates this coaching staff.
I think so.
They're kind of thinking like you. They don't really have a clear answer on the quarterback situation, as far as, like I said, they started Fish back. He's more mobile, obviously. He can run that kind of like spread read option type of offense. But obviously, they thought that he didn't take enough chances downfield, or there was opportunities downfield he didn't see and didn't take advantage of, so they put Daddy back in the game. Obviously, it's like you said, Daddy's a really good quarterback. Give him time in the pocket, he can sit back there and pick you apart. Throws for over 300 yards. I think it's just one of those that the turnover bug's just kind of gotten to him, and I think really, you could probably see you kind of got a game coming up against Georgia State where if you started one of those two quarterbacks, say if you started Dowdy, I think it might be one of those games where he might be, just kind of puts it all together and has a turnover-free game, because you're not gonna press a whole lot against a team like Georgia State because they're 0-8 on the season, and trust me, they're going through a tough transition right now. I mean, they're one of those FCS teams, used to be FCS teams, that's making that transition to Sun Belt this year, and they've lost to Sanford, Chattanooga, Jacksonville State, so they're on the struggle bus right now. So it's going to take them a little bit of time to get adjusted to the FBS life. So you got to think a game like that, you start Dowdy, maybe he has a turnover-free game and maybe that gets the mojo going. But it's like you said, it's kind of a tough situation because you throw Dowdy in there, he does really good statistically wise, but seems like he has those 1 or 2 turnovers a game. It really does change the game and gives the other team points. And really, in the end, that's kind of the deciding factor as well.
Yeah, I think pretty much it's going to come down to where the coaching staff sees the direction of these last 4 games going. If you want, Sun Belt Championship's probably out of the question now.
I think so. I think Lafayette solidified their dominance in the Sun Belt.
If if they want to push, to solidify a bowl spot for us, I would say go with Dowdy, let him sort of build his confidence, and hopefully go into these 3 games after Georgia State. Because all 3 of the next games after that are winnable too. I mean, if we're playing like we're capable of, and maybe, who knows? I can't. It's so hard to predict anything with this team.
It is.
So yeah, I mean, you could either go with him or you could, go with Fishback, go with Porter, whatever. Maybe sort of build for the future a little bit and still have a shot. I think even if you went with Fishback or Porter, I think you're still going to be in games because I think still on the overall, we're pretty much close to all those teams, but I still think if you want to, try to get to that 8-4 mark where you're, in good shape for a bowl, then I think Dowdy's the way to go, and you just are going to kind of have to live with it, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, and I've said this before. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those games. I almost think, in my opinion, you really ride Dowdy till the end. I really think he's capable of, doing what Petrino wants to do, which is throw the ball down the field. And like I said, he's going to have one of those games where, he has a turnover-free game, or maybe he has a turnover where it doesn't matter, the other team doesn't score points, it's not a crucial situation. Yeah. I think he just needs one of those games to kind of build his confidence.
For sure.
And I think if he has one of those games, might see the offense start to flourish a little bit. I mean, we've seen the offense flourish. I mean, we've looked at the stats, we've talked about it. We dominated the stats against Troy, we dominated the stats against Lafayette. It's just those turnovers in key situations. And, it wasn't necessarily the turnovers that really cost us, against Troy. It was really the second half defensive performance, in my opinion.
For all the talk about the quarterback, I put that game on the defense. Like you said, I mean, if we Just play fundamental defense and make tackles and don't try to go for strips and everything and miss tackles. I mean, I think we win that game.
It just seemed like the last two games the defense has been kind of, I don't know, seems like they've been kind of gassed.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been tackled very well. It just, you just kind of got that feeling Saturday night in the second half. It's like, man, this defense, come on. They got to just make one stop,
Yeah, I feel like it's almost the same story as last year, that all those players on defense are such emotional players, and when they're riding high, they're tough. They're not going to give up points. They're going to be playing well. But just like last year, after we saw with the loss to Louisiana Monroe, after we lost to Lafayette last week, they're just starting to hang their heads a little bit. They're not making plays like they can, and that's a problem. Hopefully, that's something that is getting addressed in practice this week, going into the the final third of the season. But I mean, if that's got to be something that you can't do as a player. Some of those guys are projected as pro NFL players, but I mean, if I'm looking at tape from these last couple of games with them, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, well, you and a lot of people, I think, share that sentiment. I know a lot of people kind of talk to me. It's like, where's Andrew Jackson at? And where's Jonathan Dowling at? He's not tackling very well. You just kind of see factors like that, and just overall defensive. You got players like that are your key players. Not stepping up. It kind of affects your other team. Where they're kind of seen as the leaders of the defense. So, and I think it's one of those things where they don't stop people. They kind of hang their heads low and they kind of lose a little bit of confidence. And when it comes to the nitty gritty in the second half, you really got to have your best confidence in the second half. And preserve that win. Because like I said, we got a 20-10 lead at halftime. So that's something that we need to preserve. I mean, you would think that would be a good enough lead, and 7 of those points came off the fumble. So, I mean, it is what it is. Defense has got to step up. So, but, yeah, you look at the kind of late in the game. I mean, Western Kentucky, despite the fact, we're sitting here dogging their defensive performance, but they still had a chance to win.
Yeah.
There in the fourth quarter, Schwetman missed that 37-yard field goal, which I think was really a game changer, too.
Yeah, it really was.
Not really sure what happened. I know, they're on the sidelines. I saw them talking to Nolan Dowling, the long snapper. So I don't know if it was a bad snap on that that attempt or what. But they were kind of talking to him as he was walking off the field. So I don't know if it was a bad snap for that missed field goal. Of course, Schwetman was on a good ride.
To miss it as bad as he did, because, the ball was such a line drive. He pulled it. I would say there had to be something with the snapper hold.
Was it a Ray Finkel problem?
Maybe the laces could have been in. Maybe.
We kind of saw that with Missouri the other night, too. We had 2 of those field goals where the laces were in. And I think he missed or hit one, but then he missed the one that mattered most. So.
That was a brutal game.
But, yeah, that would have cut the lead to 3, and, of course, Troy went down there, and then they missed their own field goal.
Yeah.
I think they missed like a 32-yarder or something like that. But, you kind of look at a situation like that where if we hit the field goal and then they go down and miss it, we're only down by 3.
Right.
So you just have to drive the ball down, get in the field goal range, and kick the field goal. But instead we're forced to go for it on 4th and 1. And really you can make the point, you can kind of make the argument to go for it or maybe – I don't know, try to kick it away and preserve your timeouts. But even in that situation, you're only going to have about 30 seconds left, I think, if it all played out. And Western Kentucky used their timeouts. Plus, you have to stop them on defense, which is something we're not doing very well in the second half. So, but the 4th and 1 play, I credit Petrino for going to the main guy.
Yeah,
Antonio Andrews looked like he kind of tripped up there in the backfield whenever he got the ball, and that was probably the deciding factor on it. And I don't blame him, too. You're in a desperate situation like that. You got to challenge a spot.
Yeah, had to.
But obviously came up short, and, that's the ball game.
That's the way it goes sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, so disappointing loss, no doubt. So, but like I said, there in the second half, Troy is getting those touchdowns in the red zone. We're just getting field goals.
Yeah.
So, that's a big difference in the game. So we kind of addressed the situation. Should Fishback have played more, and we've kind of addressed that already.
Yeah.
I think he should have got a couple more series.
Like I said, if you're going to start him, why, at least give him 2 or 3 series just to see how it goes.
Well, he got 2 series.
Well, sorry, 3 or 4, excuse me.
But, and of course, like I said, I think me and you are of the same opinion that Dowdy should probably start the rest of the games. I think you should really ride him out. He's got some talent. Can pass for a lot of yards. He went out there and beat Kentucky, which was kind of like you were jokingly saying before we came on air. It seems like that's the only game we care about.
I mentioned a minute ago, we're kind of that emotional kind of team. We get up and we're up and we're playing well, but you like to see them bring the same level of intensity to all the games.
Yeah.
I just, in the Sun Belt play the last 2 seasons, we just haven't really seen that too much, and that's frustrating as a fan. I know I talked to several fans that are kind of in the same boat.
And of course, we're sitting here right now. We're 4-4 on the season. We're 1-3 in the Sun Belt. So let's throw out the Sun Belt Conference title. It's not going to happen. Lafayette's got that pretty much locked up. They're Lafayette's the king of Tuesday night football because they
Apparently.
went into Arkansas State and beat them. So I mean, they were.
Did Arkansas State have a blackout?
I think they.
I didn't watch the game.
I think they did. I don't know. I think they were wearing gray jerseys or
They had
something.
gray
yeah.
out something.
Yeah. But anyway.
Beside the point. I'll get off my
Lafayette
soapbox on
versus
that
the
topic.
blackout games.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
But let's we kind of talked about it a little bit, but outlook the last 4 games. Is this team going to be bowl eligible? Because you got to look at it like this: we're 4-4. You have to get 7 wins at least to be bowl eligible. I mean, you can't be sitting there 6-6, and plus you have the factor of this is our last season in the Sun Belt. We're jumping conferences, so maybe old Carl Benson's like on the phone like, hey, man, don't put Western Kentucky in a bowl game.
It's weird. I don't know how to work. I saw some comments from Benson, I guess today, saying that the Sun Belt could have as many as 6 teams bowl eligible.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're sitting at
Good.
6-6 with 5 other teams eligible, I don't see
think
us
it's
getting
gonna happen.
in any over those.
I don't know what the conference outlook is in other conferences, but I really don't see a 6-6 team, a 6-6 Western Kentucky team getting into a bowl game. When you kind of compare to, you're going to have Lafayette and probably maybe Monroe, Arkansas State, those types of teams.
The only thing that could help us there is the Petrino name.
I think the
I don't know how
Petrino,
much of a factor that could be, but
the Petrino name will help us, but I think it'll help us a lot more if we're 7 wins. We got 7
7-5
wins.
with Petrino, I'd say we'll be all right.
I think 8-4, finishing 8-4, winning out, it's going to be kind of a stretch. I mean, Georgia State's going to be an easy dub. But, I mean, you really look at the rest of the games. So, road trip to Army. I know Army's only got 3 wins, but they're kind of a pesky team, triple option offense. I could really see that being a trap game going up there. And
Yeah, I mean, if we don't come out ready to go for that one, they could definitely beat us for
yeah.
sure.
And, I mean, you look at also the Texas State game as well. I mean, Texas State's, they are what they are, but they're playing really well, and they're playing pretty tough. And that's a tough place to go and play, obviously. They played some conference teams really tough and played them close, so that's another trap game. Then you got Arkansas State at home, probably the second best Sun Belt team in the conference. So I mean, nothing's a given here. I mean, we're sitting at 4-4, so I mean, we could easily just end up, with only 5 wins.
I could see 5-8. I could see 4 or anything in between.
I know that sounds, bad of us to say, but I mean, we're just being realistic.
Like I said, it's so hard to predict what this team's going
This
to do.
team is hard to predict because, you look at Troy coming into the game. I mean, they have a great offense, but they have one of the worst defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the worst defense in the Sun Belt, maybe aside from Georgia State. But yeah, I mean, you really think, we put up points, but obviously you don't get to win. So stats don't really mean anything when it comes to a team, And it seems like you said, WKU kind of plays down to their competition a little bit, I think, because you look at it statistically for both teams, you think, well, WKU is probably going to, win this game, but that's why they play the game.
That's right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I really think, you mentioned the Petrino factor. If we're at 7 wins, at least 7 wins, I think the Petrino name would get us into a bowl game.
So.
But if we're sitting there at 6-6, then I don't think we're going to get a shot.
For sure.
Plus, you got like I said, the factor of us jumping to the Conference USA. So
yeah, I mean, we saw how that affected MTSU last year. I think.
Yeah, and MTSU had 8 wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's the factor right there. So, hopefully things will work out for the Hilltoppers. And
I definitely would like to make another bowl trip.
Yeah.
Maybe not Detroit.
Maybe
again.
not Detroit. I think we've all kind of agreed
was-
that Detroit was probably
That was a brutal trip.
yeah
It was fun, but
with the snow. Maybe
scariest bus ride of my life.
maybe minus the snow would
If
be
it
a
was,
be
if it's
an
a
okay
nice winter
trip.
day, we'll be all right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, things. We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, they've been kind of playing down, had a tough 2-week stretch, and so they got to get back in the win column. I think they will against Georgia State, but we'll see what happens after that. They've got 3 road games and a home games to go. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But skipping on and looking ahead, let's talk a little basketball because exhibition
I'm so
action
excited about
starts this
basketball.
week.
Yeah.
It actually starts tomorrow night with the Lady Tops.
Toppers tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm playing Kentucky Wesleyan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna make the trip up. I guess you said it's free to get into.
Yeah, I
didn't
think
realize that,
the women's games, both against KWC and Glenville State, wherever that is,
but I don't know about that one.
on Sunday, are free to the public. So,
I'll make the trip up tomorrow. See the Lady Tops.
Yeah.
I'm excited about their potential this year. They're gonna have. It's just nice to see them have more than 8 players in uniform, and to see what they're gonna do for sure. So.
kind of sounds like Ray Harper's team last
Yeah,
year.
that's
Had
right.
8 players in uniform because of all the injuries. But yeah, like I said, you look at Hilltopper Stereo, they're a lot deeper. They got a lot more
Definitely.
size this year, so should be fun. It's like you were saying before we went on the show. It's different whenever you see them play an exhibition action at a Hilltopper Stereo
Yeah.
event. as opposed to playing an actual team out there. You know, of course, KWC, they're expected to beat them, but you still want to kind of see them play defense, which is something they didn't do at Hilltop or Hysteria.
You know, like you said, Hysteria is a little more for show. You want to see them, you know, what kind of intensity they're going to bring, what they're going to bring on the defensive end. So, you know, same thing with the guys going into Saturday against Campbellsville. I mean, Campbellsville, like I told you, earlier, they played Oklahoma State just to a 10-point loss yesterday. So, I mean, exhibitions are weird.
Let's watch out for those Campbellsville Tigers now.
I will joke around with this one. This is, made rounds on Twitter yesterday. This is the big news of the day for me.
Woody was dropping some Campbellsville knowledge, so he'll share that with you.
Former WKU Hilltopper, Adarius Pigis, or I don't know how to pronounce his name. He never played for us. He was on the team for 2 years. He is, I think, a seventh-year senior now at Campbellsville, but he's only listed as a junior on their roster.
He's really enjoying his college time.
That's right. He graduated from Louisville Western in 2007. Well,
you said he was ranked the.
He was a top 100 player coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Was a big recruit for us. Thought he was going to be a good player. Stayed hurt. Never got on the floor for us, and through other colleges and whatever he's done, he somehow made his way to Campbellsville. So we'll get to see him play Saturday.
Well, it's good to see. Maybe that's one of the reasons they only lost to Oklahoma State by 10 points.
And he's a 6'10"
Did you check the stats on that?
Good.
Did he score 42 points or something like that?
Give me a second. I'll pull up the box score. He was, I mean, like I said, he was a pretty hyped up player. But
yeah. Well, that's interesting knowledge there. I mean, I think all Western fans will be looking forward to seeing him in action. Hopefully he won't drop 42 and beat the Hilltoppers in an exhibition game. That would look kind of bad.
That would be kind of bad, yeah.
But, you also said that Campbellsville has some pictures of Tinga Cole.
Yeah, I'm checking out Campbellsville's website right now, and they're scrolling no bar with all their information. Tinga Cole's making a few appearances.
Hey, they don't know that. I mean, they just play as an exhibition play. I mean, come on. But, you talk about the men playing Campbellsville on Saturday. I mean, what do you think the point spread is for this game? How many points will we score? Will we go over the 100 mark and get free tacos?
100 free food for everyone. Free rally burgers.
I know you like the free rally burgers.
Yeah, I think we'll have a good opportunity to put up a lot of points. Yeah. It should be fun to watch.
And I mean,
I don't know if Trincy and Chris are going to play. I should have found that out because they could play in exhibitions because it's not a real game.
That'd be interesting. I don't know how that works. So
if I was the coach, but if they are going to play, Trincy will probably dunk on the whole team.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Hit about 6 threes.
Yeah.
But it's like you said. You get the opportunity to see them play defense, see them how they play defensively. I think we know offensively they're going to do really good. They got a lot of scorers. They have a lot of size, but I want to see them play defense, block some shots.
I think defense is going to be this team's calling card this year. I think Harper wants to play sort of that high pressure, up tempo kind of game, and he's finally got the players to actually be able to do that. So Saturday should be a good chance. He probably won't. You don't show a lot in exhibition games, but we'll definitely see. That good defensive intensity. And, I'm really anxious to see, what some of the guys are going to do. I know they played one of those secret scrimmage type games yesterday against Tennessee State.
Tennessee State, yeah.
And I heard Caden Dickerson was one of the standouts from that game. So I'm really excited to see, what he's going to bring.
Yeah, the secret scrimmage game.
Those are always fun, for sure.
I actually was talking to Chad Bishop today, and he said, it's kind of one of those where teams get together, and I think they take stats for their own use, but they don't really market the score or anything like that. But apparently Western Kentucky did really well, and I know talking to Chad, Tennessee State was like 18-15 last year, and they lost 4 starters. So
they weren't bad last year, but I think they did lose.
But yeah, I mean, Western Kentucky looked like they did pretty well in the secret scrimmage. I wonder how that works. Does Coach Harper just call up to Tennessee? Hey, come to the arena at 2:00 on October 27th.
I'm sure they could work something out cool like that. I know a couple years ago we had one against Georgia Tech when Derek Favors was still playing there.
Okay.
And I remember hearing that Jeremy Evans did pretty good against him, and now they're teammates with the Jazz. So
yeah, it's kind of one of those they could just leak out, and say, hey, this guy looked good. But we ain't gonna tell you what he scored or anything like that. But yeah, it's good. They're getting some work in against some teams, so definitely a good thing for them.
I'm just excited for basketball to be here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. A lot of people are excited for basketball for sure. And like I said, Hilltop Hysteria was part of that. I mean, you got a taste of what the Lady Toppers and the men's team is going to look like, and they're going to look really good, really deep. And they're going to score a lot of points. I think the women are going to be going to have a really good stellar season. They had one last year, like you said, with 8 players on the roster. So, and then of course what Ray can do with the injured group of players.
If this men's team stays healthy, I think it could be as good of a team as we've seen here in a long time, for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of the men's team, they picked up a basketball recruit over the
We did.
weekend. Some guy we never heard of.
I don't know that anybody had ever heard of him.
But he is a 3-star.
3-star player. I watched a couple of his, YouTube videos. That's the way I guess it goes now.
His Ball is Life videos.
Ball is Life, yeah, there you go.
Hoops mixtape. Was he dunking on everybody?
I saw one where he caught a lob, kind of like what George Fant caught in Hysteria, and had it way back here and dunked it, and
Well, that's
it's pretty
good.
impressive.
Can
He
he
gave,
shoot the
the
ball?
salute.
Can he play
afterward.
defense?
He looks like a pretty good shooter.
Okay.
I know. I read an article about him, and they said at one of the events he got to do, he was one of the better shooters there.
Good.
He looks, to me, it looks like that real swing type player that we really have wanted the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, I know he 6'5", 185 pounds is kind of what he's listed as. I think he reading some Rivals articles. Played at Castro Valley High School. I guess it's a high school in California. Averaged 17 points a game. He transferred to Elevate Sports Academy, which Elevate uses the 8 in their name, which I think is kind of cool. Huh?
How do you get accredited as a high school?
Well, it's a sports academy. I don't really know if they're a high school
factory.
accredited. They might just be like a private entity that plays basketball against other people. But
as long as they put out good players and they want to come to Western, I'm fine with that.
And of course that's in Orlando, Florida, and of course he's part of the Oakland Rebels AAU team, which is where kind of saw that where WKU coaches kind of saw him this summer playing some AAU ball, and then got in contact with him and offered him and everything like that. But yeah, kind of out of nowhere, nobody really knew about him, but hey, another great addition that goes along with Rob Mulberry, who is a non-scholarship player, but he's a small forward, and you got Justin Johnson, the power forward, which is kind of the big get for WKU.
For sure.
So WKU, it's kind of nice to see them as basketball season gets here. We're adding pieces to the puzzle for next year.
I like the fact that we're getting them in the fall instead of waiting to the spring. When we've had good success recruiting, it's when we've got players in the fall that maybe they sort of explode their senior year and get on the national stage, and we've already got them signed. So that's I think that needs to be the motivation for how
kind of
we
like the
recruit,
Campbellsville guy, right?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, man. We got about 3 minutes left, so give us a volleyball and soccer update.
Yeah,
I know soccer has
big news
finished
for
up.
soccer this weekend. Their regular season finished up yesterday, but Friday night they lost 1-0 to Georgia State, but because of the way other games fell too, they were still able to clinch a regular season championship.
There you go.
So that's big time for that program. Get some momentum built as you make the transition to Conference USA next year. Their tournament begins next week. We're the 1 seed for that, so we'll be in pretty good shape. We'll see how it goes. I think they've got a good shot to win it. That's in San Marcos, Texas, at Texas State. I wish I could make that trip, but it's a little far.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, I'm sure. Better than this cold weather. But volleyball, they're getting it rolling again too. They had that one loss in conference.
They had that Sun Belt Conference stumble.
We slipped up a little bit, but the pressure of the streak got to them a little bit. Since then, haven't lost a set. They've beat the 2 Arkansas teams, Arkansas State twice actually.
All right.
And Louisiana Monroe as well.
Just taking it to Arkansas State.
That's
man.
right.
Just like double them up.
Yep, for sure.
Well, that's good.
They got a couple games left, and this tournament will start later this month.
Yeah, where's the tournament going to be at?
That is in Troy this year.
Troy. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good. Good to see the soccer team doing really good.
For sure.
And the volleyball team doing really good, continuing their success. Also have some Twitter interaction real quick. We got a little bit of time left. Our boy, Stephen Carfridge, he actually suggested
Steven?
Antonio Andrews be the starting quarterback the rest of the season.
Triple option?
That triple option, yeah. I mean, I think Andrews could probably run it quite well. Read option, too.
Mr. Football and, in Kentucky.
I mean,
football
throwback
as a
passes. I mean,
yeah.
he's pretty good at that, too.
We've seen it a little.
Yeah, I saw him playing high school. He can throw the ball. So there's always an option. But really, I think it's going to be Dowdy the rest of the way. And I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed with Petrino and the 4-4 record. But, it's a new offensive system, new defensive system. It's a lot of learning processes for the kids and the players to kind of adjust to. So, it's going to take them some time. Obviously, the offense looks really good. Just got to clean up the turnovers and the defense.
Like you said, Saturday should be a good confidence builder. So hopefully he can play, kind of a mistake-free game. And we'll see how it goes.
I think it will be. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how practice goes and who the starter will be. From there, we'll be back next week. TopperTalk, same time, same channel. Go Tops.
Antiques Roadshow is in Grand Rapids.
As far as furniture goes, from the early part of the 20th century, this is about as good as it gets.
Wow. Whoa.
Well, color me happy.